Good chanters come from the family with a Binukot lineage. Binukot is a maiden jealously hidden from the eyes of men and commands a high bride gift. At the early age of 4 or 5, or even before the girl is born, the child is already pledged for marriage to a young boy as agreed by the parents. This is sealed by a tuos, a precious material or gift to seal the agreement. In the course of Dr. Maga's research, she has collected a series of Bukidnon stories about the adventures of different characters that revolves around the land and sea. A total of 10 epic stories of 13 volumes were gathered. These are Tikum Kadlum, where Paiburong goes to a hunting spree with his dog Tikum and cuts a magical bamboo tree owned by Masangladon, a great witch and monster. Amburukay tells of a hermit woman or an ugly monster who owns a gold pubic hair and took to her care 2 beautiful young girls. Derikayong Pada is about a gold medallion that Sinagnayan offers for marriage to a lovely Binukot Matanayon who was already pledged in a child marriage to Labaw-Dungon. Hence, conflict follows. Balanakon, on the other hand, tells about a warrior who grows to Halawod to pursue Matanayon, but was interrupted by Sarandihon at the river Bangaan and ends with a fight where Balanakon was defeated. Kalampay is about a huge crab where Masangladon, a man from the underworld, falls in love with Matanayon and commands Kalampay to disguise as an island to deceive her. Pahagunong, a deity from the upper world, falls in love with the lovely Matanayon. Sinagnayan is about Matanayon, who is now wife of Labaw-Dungon, who longs for her sister Pinailig sa Pinggan and persuades Labaw-Dungon to get her from Sinagnayan and make her his wife too. Humadapnon, in his story of 4 volumes, talks about Humadapnon 1, which is about the Tarangban, Humadapnon 2, which is Pagbalukat Kabiday, Humadapnon 3, Hungaw, and Humadapnon 4, the Ginlawan. This is by far the longest of the epics with 3-month storytelling. They tell of Humadapnon's pursuit for Mali, their wedding, and misunderstandings. Alayaw is about a sweet-scented flower. The beautiful Malitong Yawa was pursued by the handsome Humadapnon using a garland of sweet-scented flowers called alayaw. Nagbuhis, a ceremonial ritual where ayon, now an old woman, gets sick and performs a ceremony of power transfer to her daughter, Mali. All conflicts in the epic are settled with Laoncina as arbiter or manughusay.
Anthropologists and culture professionals have published books and other materials about the Panay Bukidnon, but none or very few young people have had close encounters with this now famous indigenous people. The Panay Bukidnon are known for their chants or epics, dances, rituals, and embroidery. Their traditional stories or epics, called Sugidanon, are chanted. Sugidanon literally means stories. These stories are based on the family and social life of the Panay Bukidnon. They also reveal their livelihood and political structure. The Binanog, a mimetic dance inspired by the hawk, or manok bird, is the traditional dance of the Panay Bukidnon. The Binanog is a courtship and social dance. The Panay Bukidnon are also known for their unique embroidery, which is called panubok. The term panubok comes from the root word tubok, which means to embroider or to sew. The embroiderers are called manok tubok. While many tribes and indigenous peoples in the Philippines have weaving traditions, embroidery traditions are rather rare. This makes panubok embroidery particularly interesting. Panubok tradition is embedded in the culture of the Panay Bukidnon. The detailed descriptions of the characters in the stories of the Sugidanon include the richly embroidered clothes they wear. And the Panay Bukidnon wear their traditional clothes when they dance the Binanog.
Suno sa kasaysayan ka mga malam sang una, nga ang mga binukot waay ginapaubra. Dayan lang di sa balay. Ginasag-uban lang ganit da kag pariguson dayan. Ti ikaron nagbasi o kung nag-isip tong binukot nga magaubra tanaka ananga na manan lang hay total hindi makaubra sa uma. Ang ubra na panebek. Sige panebek mga sinumrahan.
Mga malam sang una, inang magapungko sila sa sa pirta. Hay way man ikaw kadtuan, way kamatlantawon.
In the Philippines, men have always worked in the farm, while women stay at home to do household chores. In the case of the Panay Bukidnon, women are the culture bearers. They stay at home and embroider, practice dancing the Binanog, and memorize the chanted stories. The primary bearer of the culture of the Panay Bukidnon is the binukot. Binukot comes from the root word bukot, which means kept. A binukot is akin to a princess for the Panay Bukidnon. A binukot is kept away from men until marriage. The only things a binukot is allowed to do are to learn the Sugidanon, their chanted stories, practice the Binanog dance, and master panubok embroidery.
Ti kay baye gid naga-ideya kung ano ang himuon parte sa mga bayo. Dason, ang lalaki kung residido siya, nag-ireg man na. Kaya madamo na subong ang nagapanubok ng mga laki.
One can say that the art and culture of the Panay Bukidnon are descended from women.
Panday nanay ko, panday lula, amo gida kinaugali nang daw. Ang una nga panahon, bisan sa balay, nagasuk-sukit kanda kaday ka, kag patadyong, ginagamit din na lang patadyong kag sa ipang, na may mga tubo.
Sang una, amo di awa ay ginahimo, gida akong di amo di amang kinaiya, inopinyon, kinaugali, o surundon. Pero pag abot sang timpo gira sa katsila, tuya ka to magpamuno ang pagpabaya ka mga tradisyon pa. Hasta pag abot sang gira sang timpo huk balahap, daw ginakasigahan makilala ka nga ikaw isa ka katumandek nga Bukidnon nga waay kak intindi. Pwede ikaw makausahan kagimo-himuan kasala. Malain ka. Pagi sa pagpanubok, may mabulig man, hay ang iban man nagakinahanglan. May dayan man nga, ang mabulig makabulig ma sa mga pagkabuhi, nga mabakal ka isa, nga masundan ka isa. Magaminaklanay mamo na baklen ko tong saipang mo abi, pira baligya mo ka to. Buat ang balan makabulig sa pangabuhi sa mga material nga butang.
Kaya mo nang halin sa sang unang gusto, halin sa mga tigulang, balagin namon sang una. Ang sa nila nga gamiton nga bayo, pula. Kaya nagalakat sila sa dalan, pagka abot nila sa tuwa kadalan, nakita siya dayon nga pula.
Kita sila dayon kay pula.
Kumuna balayon.
The practice of panubok embroidery nearly became extinct as people adapted the Western way of clothing. Anthropologist Dr. Alice Magos, who was instrumental in making the government recognize the Panay Bukidnon as a distinct indigenous people, helped to revive it. Even through this revival effort, we see that women play a major role in intangible heritage. The women-born culture was revived by a woman. Nowadays, panubok embroidery is done on commercially available textiles, but the manugtubok used to embroider on see-through abaca cloth. There are no existing samples of an abaca cloth saipang with panubok, but the designs inspired by the surroundings of the Panay Bukidnon have remained.
Malantaw sa natong nagalupad ang pispis. Ginairang nanda ang korte kamata. Dason ang iba naman nga gagmay-gagmay nga kuan halin naman sa kimbis sang manog. Way man ginadrawingan.
Wala ka mag-drawing.
Way ka-drawing. Pang-utok lang.
Panubok designs are inspired by the Panay Bukidnon's environment and daily life. Sikag-sikag replicates fish bones. Togi-togi, or girigit, or zigzag in their language, is inspired by mountain ranges. Matampunay copies the eye of the punay, the native pigeon, and sudlikama, the scales of the python. Pako-pako is from fiddlehead fern, binunghay from bamboo strips, and labog flower stems from the traditional souring plant used in indigenous cuisines. Some panubok designs are also inspired by their chants, or sugidanon. A traditional binanog dance is not complete without the Panay Bukidnon wearing their embroidered saipang, sinumbrang pula, red blouse for women, and sinumbrang itom or supa, long sleeve shirt for men. In the courtship dance, a handkerchief called a panyo with different panubok designs is used. Panubok is found in every traditional practice of the Panay Bukidnon.
Tawag na alibangbang, nagutangan na ka signal na alibangbang, hay ko na kung magkasaot ka, daw alibangbang, ang nagutangan na dyan. Amo da signal na kung may alibangbang. Kung panahon nga sanday lula ko, amo da kinahanglan kita da matubol sa mga bayo bla ka mga long sleeve bla ka mga laki nagutangan man dali ang mga signal ng mga tuhog.
The new generations of Panay Bukidnon take pride in their culture. The School of Living Tradition, Balay Turunan, was founded for the young Panay Bukidnon to learn their traditional practices. They are taught how to chant, dance, and embroider.
Sino nagtudlo sa imo mag-obra?
Santissima.
Mga pila ka katuig sang gintudloan kanya?
10,
10. Pila ka nakatuig sa bong?
14.
44 years na. Damo ka naman nabalaan nga disenyo.
Gamay lang.
Mga pila.
Apat.
Ano tong mga disenyo?
Dirigete, dangkwan, sikag-sikag, matang punay, kagdang binalagon.
Nga gusto mo mag-learn?
Para nga dang matudlo ko man sa iba kung dang maghanggadot mo.
Gusto mo pag tigulang mo man, ipasa mo man sa mga ano mo, bata mo?
Budlayan ka man or wa?
Kadang una na badlayan pay kadang gapamati makmimapustom lang.
Mga every San o kamo ga learn every Sabado, kada Sabado, ilog nga adlaw. Dili ka mo ga learn. Tapos ang gatutusin si Panay sa niya.
With a school of living tradition that teaches the Panay Bukidnon youth their traditional culture, Panubok manages to survive in this day and age.
Ginhambalan sila nga, ang ining panubok, hindi nyo di pagkalipatan. Tob-tob sa sano, himuon nyo gin, nga handumana nyo sa katigulangan ninyong ginhalinan. Kung wala na kami, kundi may handumon man kamo, nga amo dya ginbili naman sa inyo.
The Panay Bukidnon have a very rich culture as embodied in their Panubok embroidery. Despite globalization, the rich legacy that has been handed down from generation to generation will hopefully not be forgotten.